I think it'll be interesting. I think you'll like it. We'll see. Maybe you won't, but I'm gonna try, Jared.
I like the confidence.
That's right. Confidence is key, Jared.
All those good.
By the way, I know you always give me shit for commenting on your outfit, but that watch is dope.
Oh, this thing.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, thanks. Seiko.
Is that your Rolly or your Foley?
It's a Seiko.
Oh,
so
nice.
it's a real
Seikos
Seiko.
are nice, dude.
But it's a Seiko 5 Sports.
I mean, you're a sporty dude. That makes sense.
Okay.
Hello and welcome to the Untranslatable podcast. We are here today to talk about flexing, and that has really has lots of different meanings. But I think the way we'll be discussing it in today's episode is like kind of showing off, bragging, whether it be money, skills, could be a multitude of things. We're also going to talk about how people flex in different countries and different places because I tell you what, Americans, we certainly flex a certain way. And our brothers and sisters out there in places like Dubai certainly flex in other ways. Just one example, but we're going to get into that today. Should be a really fun episode. So get out your fat stacks of cash. Get out your golden Humvee or your golden Lambo. Get out your private jet full of Falcons for today's episode. And get ready because this is going to be a fun one. So we're going to talk about flexing today. So get ready and grab your pen and pencil for some notes if you want to do some serious flexing after today. So without further ado, I'm joined by my good buddy and the king of flexing, Jared. What's going on, Jared?
Hi, Chad. My favorite way to flex is to fly on various low-cost airlines and scream at the passengers about how much my parents and grandparents make. That's really the ultimate flex in my mind. That guy's my hero.
There you go.
No, really. No one likes a bragger, you know. There's nothing wrong with a flex, but it's the subtle flex. That's the kind of flex that I'm into, you know. My subtle flex is I'll save it for later. I don't need to ruin it right now with all my secrets.
Our listeners would only listen to the first 7 or even 3-5 minutes of the podcast. Be like, all right, well, yeah. I know how Jared flexes. That's all I needed.
You gotta leave him. That's the cliffhanger. That's what they call it.
That's right. But yeah, dude. So I want to talk to you about something. As you know, I mean, I work in educational technology, which means I use lots of different devices. Also, a lot of Apple devices. And I don't know if you've heard about this in the news, Jared, but the EU has proposed mandatory USB-C on all devices, including iPhones. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, I saw. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just find this one. It's incredibly EU, I think, to make a demand like this. Like, can you imagine in America, like what people would probably be saying if like the U.S. government tried to be like, yeah, we want all companies now to use USB-C.
Do they not have any requirements like that with the other USBs? Like earlier USBs, there's no sort of standardization mandated by the government?
Question. That's a really good question. I'm not sure.
Because I hear where you're coming from, but you're just saying things. We've been living our whole life with USB A and B. And I don't know if there was a B, actually. I know the other one's A, but I don't know if there was actually a B. Probably not. USB-B. You can't do that.
Right?
By USB-B. But anyway,
people think
my entire life,
or something.
there was FireWire as well for a bit. That was annoying. But
right. For Thunderbolt, that was an Apple thing, I think, right?
Yeah. What's that? What's Thunderbolt? Are you just making up things?
Thunderbolt.
Are you just making things up, Chad?
No, I'm not just making up things, Jared. Thunderbolt is at least I thought it was an Apple thing, but maybe it's not exclusive to Apple. It's like a little, like I remember I had my MacBook Air had a Thunderbolt, and you could use it for like an HDMI adapter.
Yeah, that's like the thing that I used that for my older Mac. My for your iMac too. You use that for your screen. Yep. I gotcha. Yeah. I forgot about that one. That was Apple specific, I think. But that was an adapter for normal stuff. You know,
right? So typical Apple as well.
Yeah. As far as the phones go, USB-C is good. I like the standardization. It makes sense. And USB-C is, but it doesn't bother me that much. My life has been It would be cool, I guess, but it doesn't make any difference to me. I guess it would be more convenient, but I'm not pressed. Let's put it that way.
Do you know why the EU is pushing for this, though, Jared?
Yeah, because the politicians are corrupt, and a couple of them are just having These couple of these old fucks were just having conversations about how they don't can't figure out how to properly find the right plugs for their iPhone. And one young person's like, "Oh, I have an Android and it has USB-C," and they're like, "Whoa, what?" And they're like, "Yeah, you see your Mac, you see that shape? It's the same thing, and I can give me your charger for your Mac, and I'll just plug it into my phone." And they're like, "What the?" And that's how it happened. They were
seething.
That's how it happened. They're like, you could just do that? That's the same plug. Right. That's my charger for my computer. That shouldn't go in there.
Right.
It's like, yeah, well, my phone's
charging. And I find it
now.
ironic, too, Jared, because the iPad Pro now has USB-C as well. So it's like the only thing missing really is the iPhone.
Yeah. MKHB, Marquez Brownlee, his guess is that they're skipping over USB-C completely and just making a transition to fully wireless charging via, I don't remember what it's called, but via something that they have.
Okay. Well, I mean, the nice thing about wireless charging is, imagine all the plastic and waste that, like all the broken wires that people have from their old chargers and stuff. If it was wireless, you save on all of that stuff, which I think is good.
Yeah, I don't think that's Apple's concern, but that's maybe it might be a positive benefit.
Right. I think it's one of my concerns, though, Jared.
Yeah,
it's certainly not Apple's.
They're looking at their balance sheets and income statements and like, They're like, oh wow, look, one less seal choked on a knockoff Apple cord. Anyway, yeah, okay. I don't know. I'm down for it. It would definitely, I guess, simplify my life. But I'm so annoyed with. I guess I'm so annoyed with the fact that they don't use USB-C. So maybe I'm on board with it. That I've just fully skipped over that part of my life. So I have wireless headphones. In my car, I just have a cable that I don't ever take out of it, and Apple CarPlay or whatever.
Right.
But then inside, I really only charge with wireless chargers anyway. So sure.
Jared's out here living in 2030 already.
Yeah,
look at that.
Yeah, and it cost me $20.30 to buy these 2 wireless chargers. So
right.
Yeah, is that 2030? That is, of course, it would be to you. Wireless chargers
it's probably 2025.
Wireless chargers are probably 2016, Chad. You are very far behind.
Fair enough.
They're not that fancy. It's pretty basic technology at this point.
That's true.
I think it's been around, at least since this iPhone, which is at least 4 years old, by the way. So at least 2017.
Just talking about an iPhone 8 for those out there listening.
Chad's just showing his age. You were too young to be this shocked by the idea of a wireless charger.
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm shocked by it, Jared.
You said I'm living in 2030.
Yeah.
It cost me like $6.
I was trying to make a stupid joke.
Okay.
One, I was trying to make a stupid joke. And two, I don't think wireless chargers are quite as wide. Like, the reason I guess why I said 2030 is I highly doubt wireless chargers are going to be accessible everywhere probably, and probably 2030 is a stretch. But at least a couple of years. I mean, I will tell you, when I was in China, I did not see many wireless chargers.
I bought it off Amazon.
Right.
It's not like I had to find it. All right, listen, Chad, you are a great representation of, I work in marketing, and sometimes you take for when you work with any product, you sort of take for granted how much the consumer might know about something and their knowledge of something. So when you hear them say their knowledge of something, you're like, okay, let me reframe my view from someone that doesn't know everything that's happening in this specific industry, let's say. So when I hear you talk about this technology, quote unquote, that is a wireless charger being something that's out of grasp for the average human until about 2025 to 2027, it really puts into perspective that it's interesting. I've had these for the past 4 years, 4 or 5 years, and I bought them off Amazon back then for like $10 each. Yet you're so shocked by the technology that I'd say you're right. I'd say you are right. If someone as young as you is so blown away by such a simple piece of technology that's been around for so long, then I think you might be right.
If it makes you feel any better, Jared, I actually just bought my first wireless charger 2 days ago.
Wow.
Got it right behind me on that table.
Gosh,
Actually, you can
Chad.
see the box right there. You see that white box?
Yeah,
There's my
before you
wireless charger.
hook it up, make sure you read the instructions. You know, it's a very high-tech piece of technology. It's very delicate. Make sure you know what you're doing. You know, this is not just for some amateur, okay?
I mean, it might take a couple hours for me to find where I need to plug it in, Jared.
Yeah, read all the extra disclaimers on the back about fire risks. If it's 600 degrees in your apartment, make sure you read all of that.
Perfect. Well, dude, I just want to bring that up because I think it's really interesting that the EU is proposing this. I think it's a good thing, to be honest with you, but I thought that would be just kind of cool to mention. And we'll see if it happens. I'm curious to see if Apple will toe the line or if they're just going to chuckle in their swimming pool full of dollar bills and not care.
I mean, they'll care because they already have the plans for the next 10, 11 years of what they're going to be doing, you know, maybe not 10, 11 years, 7 to 10 years. So if it affects their plan, then they'll care. And it'll take engineering, even if they do already technically have the technology, it'll cost them. But they'll be fine either way.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down for it. I don't mind. I don't understand why it's so important to... Yeah, you never told me why it was so important for these European lawmakers. You asked me like there was going to be a big reveal.
Let me tell you, Jared.
Okay.
The big reveal obviously is just environmental concerns. So if you have numerous different types of chargers, you need to produce numerous different types of cables, right? So that's really what it boils down to.
I'm down with that.
Let's be honest.
I'm down with that.
Right?
Especially since every knockoff
charger,
not going to say every, between headphones, especially if you're getting something that looks like an iPhone Apple product, between chargers, dongles, and headphones, if you're going on Amazon and just typing in like, one of those products, it's a good chance it's going to be pretty shitty. Like you can't just go online and buy a knockoff Apple charger and hope and be guaranteed that's going to work.
Right. I forget what it's called, but there's
how much of a hit or miss rate that is on that.
Oh, for sure. I forget what certification it is, Jared, but there's some acronym. There's like a specific type of like off-brand cable with like it's like I think it might be like MCEP or I don't remember, but basically it was like that certifies it to be like to the quality and standards.
Right. I guess it was going to be ASE, but I have no idea either.
Right. Or ASS. But yeah, sorry, stupid little butt joke there. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like the fact that obviously the EU, I think in a lot of ways, they're just, to me, it seems like they're obviously just not as driven by money like our government is.
That's
right.
No, because that's not because.
Or is that false? Is that false?
I mean, I'm not gonna say it's false, but I'm gonna say there are bigger issues regarding our environment than
charging cables.
Yeah, like the shipping,
That's
like
true.
the shipping industry in general is cruise ship industries. There are much bigger aspects of what's polluting the globe that can be regulated in ways that aren't regulated. So yeah, I think something like that, which I'm not gonna say it's bad. Sure, I understand the benefit of it, but to me, it still seems more symbolic than
overall. It's just a drop in the bucket, basically.
Yeah, you just seem like you really are in love with these European countries.
I guess so.
Everything they do is so right,
them,
and it's like, look at these dumb Americans out here, not knowing how to handle society because they're still letting people use whatever old stupid plug they want. When I don't think it's that simple. I think there's a lot of there's probably still a lot of financial motivation in politics in most European countries as well.
Yeah, I guess
there's
you're right.
a lot of bigger issues regarding the environment that are being ignored because it's a lot easier to say like, hey, look at these. Look, we're now I can, yeah. And it's like I just learned about USB-C last week, like Chad just learning about wireless charging being available to the masses for many years at this point.
Hey, this podcast is all about learning new things, Jared. That's for sure. Anyways, Jared, I do want to give
another
a quick
fallacy,
shout out. So I'd like to give a shout out though today, Jared.
Spread a
I don't know
little
if you've
love.
heard this story, but The Afghanistan girls soccer team has been given political asylum in Portugal. So my shout out, I guess, goes out to two people. Number one, the Afghanistan girls soccer team, and two, obviously, of Portugal. As if anyone has not been following the news at all, or if you're living under a rock, obviously the Taliban has taken power back in Afghanistan, which has drastically changed the lives of basically, I think it's safe to say, pretty much every woman in Afghanistan, especially those who want to play sports, who want to get an education, who want to live, be able to leave their houses. I mean, there's a lot of big changes that have happened in the last weeks or month. And I just think it's really great that Portugal has been so helpful with this soccer team. And so here's the story, Jared. So the girls on the Afghanistan's national soccer team were anxious. For weeks, they'd been moving around the country, waiting for word that they could leave. One girl wants to be a doctor, another a movie producer, others engineers. All dream, though, of growing up to be professional soccer players. Then the message finally came early Sunday. A charter flight would carry the girls and their families from Afghanistan to where they didn't know. The buses that would take them to the airport were already on their way. They left their homes and left everything behind. Farkunda Mutad, the captain of the Afghanistan women's national team. Sorry, Jared, 1 second. My dog's up here because my parents are gone and she's trying to play. All right. Anyways, back to the story. So they left their homes and left everything behind. Farkunda Mutaj, the captain of the Afghanistan women's national team, who from her home in Canada had spent the last few weeks communicating with the girls and working to help arrange their rescue, told the Associated Press. They can't fathom that they're out of Afghanistan. Since the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan, the girls ages 14 to 16 and their families had been trying to leave, fearing what their lives might become under the Taliban. Not just because the women and girls were forbidden to play sports, but because they were advocates for girls and active members of their community. Late Sunday, they landed in Lisbon, Portugal. In interviews with the Associated Press this week, Mutaj, members of the soccer team and some of their family members and the Soccer Federation staff spoke about their final days in Afghanistan, the international effort to rescue them, and the promise of their newfound freedom. The rescued mission, called Operation Soccer Balls, which I'm not really sure why that was the name they went with, Jared.
Operation Bark Soccer Balls? That's weird.
Right? All right. We got a dog distraction today, folks. Sorry about that. Anyways, the rescue mission called Operation Soccer Balls was coordinated. This is kind of weird. Was coordinated with the Taliban through an international coalition of former U.S. military and intelligence officials. U.S. Senator Chris Coons, U.S. allies, and humanitarian groups, said Nick McKinley, a CIA Air Force veteran who founded the Dallas-based Deliver Fund, a nonprofit that secured housing for 50 Afghan families. This all happened very, very quickly. Our contact on the ground told us that we had a window of about 3 hours, said McKinley. Time was very much of the essence. They really couldn't come up with a better name, Jared, than Operation Soccer Balls? Really?
Is that what? Do you want something more clever? Maybe they should have contracted some sort of comedian or something.
I guess. Yeah, Operation Soccer Balls.
They
just
couldn't
sounds
have
lazy.
gotten Dave Chappelle on some sort of government contract to come up with something more clever.
Right? No kidding. Operation Soccer Balls had suffered a number of setbacks, including several failed rescue
What would you like
attempts.
it to be? Give me something that you think is better. If you think soccer balls are so bad.
Oh, you got to call it. If they're going to Portugal, you got to call it Operation Ronaldo.
That's pretty good. Okay.
See, that took me 5 seconds, Jared. And these are high level.
Maybe that's too obvious, though. Maybe they catch on.
Okay, then you call it Operation Mbappe, and they'll think they're going to France, and then they end up in Portugal.
Yeah, or Operation Man U or something.
Right.
Oh wait, no, hold on. Oh wait, but that's hard. There are no popular Portuguese soccer teams really that I could think of off the top of my head.
Operation Sporting.
Yeah, I don't know who plays there though, so it won't work.
That's fair.
But yeah, no, I like where your head's at. Ronaldo's good.
Yeah.
I don't know who they're. Does it have to be a secret? Soccer's not pretty obvious or whatever. Soccer ball, that's
right?
So maybe Ronaldo would work.
Yeah. Who knows?
I'm down with it.
Right. Anyways, Operation Soccer Balls had suffered a number of setbacks, including several failed rescue attempts and a suicide bombing carried out by Islamic State militants the Taliban's rivals at the Kabul airport that killed 169 Afghans and 13 U.S. service members. That bombing came during a harrowing airlift, which the U.S. military has acknowledging it was coordinating to some extent with the Taliban.
That's the sentence?
Complicating. That's the sentence. Complicating the rescue effort was the size of the group, 80 people, including the 26 youth team members, as well as adults and other children, including infants. So anyways, I just want to give a shout out to all the people who made Operation Soccer Balls. I can't believe I'm saying this, but who made Operation Soccer Balls a success, even after all those setbacks. Shout out to Portugal as well for taking in the Afghanistan women's soccer team and helping them out with everything. And I wish the families and the girls of the soccer team all the best. And it's great to see. So shout out, spread that love to Portugal and the Afghanistan women's or girls soccer team.
Spread a little love. That's a beautiful, that's quite a story, Chad. Thank you for reading that story to us.
Yep, absolutely. Well, Jared, I think you know what time it is.
Do you have another story?
No, it's I don't. Although
we should turn the shout out section into Chad story time.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Because all you do is just like read a little story to us.
That's fair. We can definitely do that.
You seem to really
Chad
enjoy it
time.
too, so I certainly don't want to take it away from you. But a shout out at this point seems like an odd title for it. Can you give us can you give me a new drop for it? A Chad story time something? I gotta get like a harp sound where it's like, you know what I mean? Like I can take care of that, but I need you to say Chad story time in the way that you think is the right way.
Oh, should we go kind of Bob Ross more like let me clear my throat here. Get ready for this, Jared. Chad story time.
Okay.
Is that good?
Go. That's fine. I can make it work.
All right, sounds good. Anyways, it is time for some untranslatables though, Jared. You folks will have to wait till the next episode for some more Chad story time. So without further ado,
I don't know if you've been following the comments, but people have been begging for more Chad story time.
Well, perfect.
Can we somehow make this? I'm only slightly kidding. Can we somehow make this transition, this whole podcast, into you just telling stories and I just sit here and listen? I'd actually be kind of on board with that.
Oh man, it's funny because I've been told by numerous people at work, especially because I use my audio setup when I do Zoom meetings with them. I've been told by numerous people like, "Oh, you have a great radio voice. You have a DJ voice." So
that's exactly why at work I just use the computer as audio and I don't use my microphone because I don't need people asking me questions.
That's fair.
Why do you sound so good? It's like, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. You just gotta say you take pride in your work from home office setup.
Yeah.
See, boom.
No one believes those lies. No one believes that from me.
If you say it with enough confidence, Jared, maybe they will. Anyways, let's get into some untranslatables, which are idioms, proverbs, sayings, axioms that don't always translate on a one-to-one basis into English. And I want you to get us started today, Jared.
So this episode's about money. So I have two untranslatables. They just happen to be French, but they're both money based.
Perfect.
So keep that in mind when you hear them. The first one is être une vache à lait. Do you know what a vache is?
Is it a vase?
Do you know what a allée is?
Is that like allez, like let's go?
No, both wrong. To be milking a cow.
Oh, I was nowhere close.
Vache is cow and lait is milk.
Okay. Oh, okay. Kind of like leche, I guess.
Yeah. Just like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just like that. Perfect. Milking a cow, is that like to what's the way we would say? Is it like to be like where you're just like spending money left and right? Oh wait, no, it's not that. I have a feeling it's not that already. Am I right?
It's not. Well, you have a feeling and your feeling is right. But
okay, good.
Someone in this circumstance, because the cow has been milked, someone is spending money left and right.
Okay.
So
it's not to be like hemorrhaging money.
No.
Okay.
No.
Is it to like spoil somebody?
No. Can I give you one of the greatest
world-class examples?
One of the greatest. No, I'm not gonna. No, not one of my world-class examples. One of the greatest cow milkers out there is Bernie Madoff.
I just say it, Jared, but I don't know who that is. Like, I've heard the name, but I don't really know anything about him.
Oh, Chad. All right, well, if I
Is he a
explain it
lawyer?
to you, no, Chad. If I explain it to you, you're welcome to keep guessing. If I explain it to you, then I'd just be
obvious.
explaining the untranslatable. Who's
Okay.
another Well, if you don't know who Bernie Madoff is, you're not going to know another famous. Oh, okay, here. Here's a good example for someone like you, Chad.
Should I be offended for someone like you statement
We'll
there?
see. I guess we'll see if you get it or not. A great example of a great cow milker is Jordan Belfer, played by Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh, the Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah. So he's a good
Okay.
cow milker.
Oh,
Chad.
somebody who is it somebody who like only cares about money? Or you
But
cheat
what-
the system to get money?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Okay. Sure. To exploit people, or like to exploit financially, to be exploited financially, is to be a milking cow. So those
see.
people are the ones that are exploiting people. They're the cow milkers exploiting people
Gotcha.
financially, and they don't even realize it. That's
Okay.
what you never heard of Bernie Madoff, Chad?
I've
Well,
like I said,
before-
I've heard the name, but I've
Yeah.
never. What did he
We've
do?
all heard a lot of names before, Chad. Bernie Madoff was known for. I believe he died a year or two ago, maybe more, 2 or 3 years ago. But he was known for one of the biggest Ponzi schemes out there. Where not Ponzi schemes. What do you call? Yeah, is it a Ponzi
Pyramid
scheme?
scheme?
Pyramid scheme, where what he did was he got famous and rich people to invest money with him, and he would take most of the money and invest it himself, and then give them a small amount back. But they would then and he'd take more of it, but then they would refer other people. He was just stealing a bunch of money from rich people, and he ended up stealing billions of dollars, and he got a lot of time in jail and recently died in jail.
I see.
So he's
okay.
recently one of the most famous thieves out there.
Cow milker extraordinaire. Okay.
Yeah.
My first one
But,
for you,
you know,
Jared, is
when you want to speak to the common man like Chad, you go to the movies, and so I need to learn
Jared,
my audience. That's really my fault, Chad, and I apologize.
right. See, Jared. That's why I bring balance to this podcast. Not all of us are bougie like you.
That's true. But I know how to speak to all classes, including,
Should I put on my overalls and start playing my banjo for you, Jared?
Listen, you're the one with the stereotypes. Lack of knowledge comes in all forms.
Fair enough, Jared. My first untranslatable for you today is Japanese, and it is Inonaka no kawazu. Oh, sorry. Let me give you the full one. Inonaka no kawazu taikai wo shibarazu. And I'm sure I said that wrong. But anyways, a frog in the well knows nothing of the great ocean.
It's like to be blissfully ignorant.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I don't. It's like I'm not concerned about these things because I don't even know these things exist.
It's not only to be blissfully ignorant, it's also to just not be able to see the bigger picture. But I would say if you're blissfully ignorant, you are clearly not able to see the bigger picture. So, yeah.
That's true. Another other French one, money-based. Excuse me. L'argent n'a pas d'odeur. Money has no smell. That sounds like something they'd say in a movie.
Which is false, though, dude. If you've ever, at least our greenbacks, our American dollars definitely sometimes have a smell.
I mostly do it just hoping for some residual cocaine, but it turns out that money does smell good too. Who knew?
Money has no smell. Interesting. Money has no smell. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of different directions.
Money
you
has
could
no
take this.
smell.
It's like
Tony, I can't take it. I just run a little bakery. I can't take it. Hey, Sal, money has no smell. You're a good guy, okay? Take the money.
So it just means
Sal,
like
I'm a family man. This is not how I run my business. I can't do this.
oh, it's a bribe. It's a bribe.
No.
bribe somebody, no?
No. Listen. the good guy is the one saying, I can't take the money. The bad guy is the one saying, listen, I think I might have gotten the names mixed up. The bad guy is the one saying, listen, just take the money. Money has no smell, okay?
Like
You need the money. Your mother's sick, okay? Money has no smell. Listen, this is not how I like to earn money. It's not.
I hate to say it, Jared, but I'm just drawing blanks on
The
this
origin of money, honest or dishonest, makes no difference. Money is money.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So you don't watch a lot of. Are you not a big fan of like a mafia movie, a good old Italian mafia movie, like Goodfellas or something like that? Donnie Brasco,
Scarface,
Listen, I thought I could get you with movies, but I guess I need to learn your genre better.
music.
No, I clearly movies works. I got you with that other one pretty easily.
That's true. All right, I got two Turkish untranslatables. The first one for you is Aç ay oynamaz, which means a hungry bear won't dance.
A hungry bear won't dance.
This also has to do with money, Jared.
Well, you can't get someone to do something unless they're incentivized to do it. I'm not just going to do this shit for free.
And how do you usually incentivize people?
With money.
There we go. Yeah, one needs to be paid to do some work.
You didn't like my use of the term incentivized? I'm kind of offended.
I wanted that explicit word money in there, Jared.
I would say incentivized is explicit, to be fair. Because no matter how you're getting quote-unquote paid, pay is involved. But I get it. It's fine.
Right.
Incentivized, I think, is a fine term. That was very fitting.
Fair.
But I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. And listen, once again, I'm learning my audience. Episode 332. And here I am still learning that it's like, all right, no. Incentivized is a big word. I get it. Let's just say money. Because when people flex, Chad, it needs to be clear and obvious. Flexing is not some sort of, oh, maybe they'll figure it out. It's like, no, look at this. This is how daddy rolls. Flex daddy, as they call me.
that's Jared's street name, right? It's just Flex Daddy.
Yeah. Hey, Flex Daddy. And then I break off a couple 20s and I say thank you.
Oh, man, let's talk about flexing, Jared. I can save the other Turkish untranslatable for another day. But you're right. I mean, the whole point of flexing, you can't hint at flexing. Like if you're hinting at something, it's not a flex. Like flex in my opinion has to be in your face.
There is a term for that. There are two terms I could think of: the subtle flex that I said earlier, and then the humble brag is another one.
Oh, humble brag. Yep.
But that is still just another way of flexing or bragging. You still hope that that people notice you. Really, is that what it's about? People knowing that you got something or that you're doing something right. You
just answered my question I wanted to ask, Jared, which is why do people flex? And I think that right there is why. Yeah. You want to show off something? Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Of course. And everyone has a little bit of it in them. No one's above this. I don't care what people say. Everybody.
I agree with you.
No one's just out here just fully like I'm with no awareness of how they're presenting themselves. Let's put it that way.
Right. For sure.
Even if you're not flaunting jewelry, cores, ladies, you're still sort of trying to, present something. You present something about yourself somehow.
So what do you think might be maybe even some more like subtle flexes?
Subtle flexes? Ooh, that's a good one.
Because I feel like the extravagant ones are pretty obvious, right? Like fancy cars, as you mentioned, beautiful women. Or, I bet you there are some ladies on Instagram flexing with a bunch of like ripped dudes beside them. You know what I mean?
I think a subtle flex, first of all, is a happy life.
Okay.
Not and I mean obviously that's stupid to say, but by not presenting any drama. Like it's sort of, but
So are you saying, Jared, that our episode about van life and popping your feet out of your van with the sunset is that a subtle flex, or is that getting more into the moderate flex?
That's not subtle. Okay. I think a better example, and this is mixed in, by the way, with plenty of examples of gigantic flexes. I follow Beyonce on Instagram. because I'm an American. Okay. Anyway, and she has her subtle flexes. What I mean, she has plenty of gigantic flexes that she does that are barely a flex because everyone knows she's rich. Like right now, she's on vacation, by the way, and so she has all these pictures of her on yachts. And, and her with Jay-Z and her kids, like, on yachts. But they're all sort of, like, you can really never get a clear picture of what's happening. And the flex, to me, for someone like her, is that she gives the tiniest of glimpses into her personal life. And I think the flex is to live unbothered. Like to not get sucked into social media. Like, she doesn't respond to shit. She doesn't respond to... She just, like... Every month or two, we'll just post 6 or 7 pictures and be like, I'm living my life, and then just, like, disappear. And I think that that's a great flex for a rich person, is to just, like, not even respond, I think is a great flex. Because I think, on social media specifically, you see, I see, you don't. I see a lot of people, with a lot of followers get mixed up in some like social media BS, and I'm like, you don't need to be responding to these people with 13 followers. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? And I find that to be the opposite of a flex. Another subtle flex, by the way. I don't need to focus on social media so much, but all this is going to go back to social media at some point. The other subtle flex is you have to stick to a lane. So, like, you're a guitar nerd, for example.
Yep.
Finding a guitar that will impress someone that only impresses people that know something about a guitar, For example, in the car world, finding a car that they might call a sleeper, where it's like any normal person has no idea that this is a special car, but if you know, then you know. And like the people that really know will come up to you and be like, "Well, now that's cool." And it's like, all right, everybody knows a Lamborghini is something cool or special or whatever.
Right.
And any idiot that knows nothing about a car could look at a Lamborghini and be like, "Wow, that must be special," or like, "Oh, that's clearly expensive." But a subtle flex is like, I don't care about these idiots that know nothing about nothing, and I just see something shiny and get impressed. I'm impressing the people that are actually aficionados and know something. So that's
Can you give me an example of like a car that would be a sleeper, that would be like a really cool type of flex?
Sure.
Because I'm genuinely curious.
A popular genre in the car community is the high-performance station wagon. A couple brands have done it very well. Mercedes with the E63S, Cadillac with the CT-SV wagon. These are cars that are sort of based off of normal family cars and come in normal family car versions, but can also be had with, gobs of horsepower. And so, for example. And you could go
on the racetrack and leave other cars in the dust.
I'll leave you in the dust on the racetrack. Yeah. So that's an example of where it's like a normal car, or it's even like a yeah. Those are the two that just come to my head immediately. I don't need to spend a lot of time giving a bunch of examples.
I do like that idea though, Jared, of like a sleeper. Because I think there's a lot that's applicable in a lot of different arenas, right? Like, obviously with like music, for sure.
Music. How can you flex with music though? Besides for instruments, obviously.
Well, right. That's a good question. I guess maybe a subtle flex would be like have like a big name producer. But like when I say big name, I don't mean like big name as in like pop mainstream big name, but like if you're a big jazz head, like have some like, old jazz cat like produce your album or play on your album. Like I feel like
whose album are you talking? What were you talking about? Album
or record or song?
So you're talking. This is specifically for a musician, is what you're talking about.
Yeah, for music. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, I mean, yeah.
I didn't realize. I just didn't realize you were getting so specific. Because I was thinking, I'm like, I'm not having. I don't know any. I don't know or care to know any producers. Well, this is not a flex to me, but I understand. Right. I guess if you're a musician, then it is a flex.
Right. Or like if you own like I don't know, maybe like a friend of a friend somehow knew. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like.
Here's the flex. Here's the flex. I hear what you're saying, and you're getting very specific. The flex, I think, a big flex, and I have this in my list of flexes that I've put down. I have a shockingly extensive list of flexes that have come to my mind, and then the flex is who you know. It's knowing people in general is a flex.
Yeah.
Because something I've learned from my glimpses into rich people world is that you can get to a place where you're no longer impressing people with stuff that you've bought, but now
Right.
you're impressing people with the experiences that you've gathered that you can't buy, like meeting some sort of famous person. When I happen to sit down with Barack Obama and have a conversation about, something like that, where it's like you can't pay for that, And so I think that right there is a flex. That's also a flex, by the way. That anyone of it doesn't. You don't have to be at that level where you're having personal dinners with Barack Obama. But even
just a pic.
Yeah, like the Instagram pic of people who put like pics of them with celebrities or something, or like a backstage pic. We've all seen it. That's a flex.
Right.
It's like, oh yeah, I got to take a picture with, I don't know, who do kids like these days? Tiesto. Is he hot still?
Drake,
I saw him at a
probably.
Formula One race recently.
Probably Drake. I would say that's a good one.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a flex. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Let me give you a quick little. Sadly, this was before camera phones and all that stuff, Jared. But when I was in like 3rd or 4th grade, I slapped Tony Hawk's hand, the professional skateboarder. So there's my little famous person flex.
Is there a picture of it?
I just told you this was like before cell phones, and
that doesn't mean it was before
and picture
cameras,
phones.
though.
Well, no. So it was at like an event in the
It's not a
palace.
flex. I don't believe you.
You don't think so?
I don't believe you. It's not a flex.
Okay,
I don't
fair.
believe you.
Pixar didn't happen, I guess.
This
right?
is how flexes work. You can't.
I guess
you
you're right.
can't flex. You can't flex a story, but you can't flex. You gotta. That's not a flex of a story. I'm not
Right.
impressed, is what I'm saying,
Okay.
Chad.
Well, you're not easily impressed, anyways, Jared. Let's be real.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, if that's the bar that's being set, then you're right. You're 100% right. You telling me that you slapped some guy's hand, that may or may not have happened. Maybe it was. We've all seen the pictures online of like, I met Drake, and it's just like some dude with a beard, in a
Those
bodega.
are great.
There was one
Yes.
recently of that, where it's like some Dominican looking dude in a bodega. That
I've
just
seen
sorta,
so many of those where someone thought they met Snoop Dogg.
Yeah,
And it was
there's
just
a
a
lot
tall
of those
black dude
too.
with a goatee and like the
That
like
smokes
braids
weed.
with the little beads. Yeah, yeah.
It's just a
Oh,
black guy
man.
that happens to be smoking weed, and he's skinny, so I thought it was Snoop Dogg. Yeah. So
I would say this though, Jared. I think flexing would not be what it is today without the gram. Without Instagram, I feel like or just social media in general, I guess. But especially, I feel like
'Cause Pixar
Instagram is
didn't
where the
happen as
flexing
real.
comes out. Oh, for sure.
because no one really cares about your little story,
Right.
I don't really care. Maybe that's just me, but I have no interest in people's. And I'm not shitting on your Tony Hawk reference when I say this, just to clarify. But in general, I have no interest in someone's. I understand. Once again, I need to really clarify. I'm not talking about you right now. No interest in someone's I met a famous person story. Just in general, at a party, it's like,
Right.
Who cares? Who cares? But a picture's different.
Right.
Because
for sure.
because then you can sort of see the fun happening also. Unless the story's so good where it's like we jet skied together and I was holding on to Snoop Dogg's waist as we were jet skiing through Lake Michigan. Then all right, maybe I'll listen to the story.
Right.
But it's like I was at a concert and he let me come up on stage and wave to the crowd and then he hugged me. It's like all right, who cares? I don't care. That's not a flex to me, really.
You know what else I think though, Jared, is a big
Lucky random
flex
fan.
is like taking pictures at like really exclusive spots.
Yeah,
like maybe
that's a good
somehow
one.
you have a connection and you can get like to like parts in the Empire State Building where like a normal person wouldn't be able to get access. Like,
Classic
oh,
one
dude,
these days. You have one. Go
What?
ahead. I'll let you go first. I have one too,
dude,
but I can think
you
of
know what
two.
we should have. Yeah, you were. I think you were there with me still. I'm trying to remember now if this is first or second semester in Vienna. I think that this was first semester. You remember when we got up on the roof of
Yeah.
the natural history? Like that
For
would be
sure. That's a
great.
flex.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
that's a That's especially not only because we got up there, but we also drank booze up there, and our teacher was the
I
one
made, by the way,
that you made, and our teacher was like, "Please tell me you brought the booze."
Yeah, that was great, dude. I stashed that in my black leather jacket and was like, walked around the museum with my arms crossed, like I was unimpressed with everything, but really I was just trying to keep the booze concealed.
That is a good flex, and we got to see all those like wild skulls and stuff in those back rooms. That was creepy as hell.
That was sweet.
A flex like that on a bigger scale, that a recent one. Oh shoot, I forgot one of them. But the other one that I was gonna say was the Met Gala. The Met Gala is always a flex where it's like no one knows what happens here. That's just me, by the way, is what I'm saying. I don't know what happens there, but it's all about let me just flex this like
crazy
the ultimate
outfit,
clothing flex. Which, by the way, in itself, for any old human being, is a flex. The clothing flex.
Definitely.
even if you're a no nothing, good for nothing loser like you or I, we can afford one sort of flex fit, as I'll call it.
Okay,
I don't really have
that
one right now, but I've definitely in my day have had the flex fit. If we're talking jeans, the best jeans, or, like it'll be like the Levi's. I can't even think of the numbers anymore. It's been so long since I've bought clothes that I want to flex in. All the clothes I've bought are shorts to play soccer or sweatpants in the past year and a half.
You don't have any Gucci sweatpants, Jared, that cost $700?
Yeah. Oh, see, that is a good flex, though. That is a good flex. Or like shoes is obviously a classic flex, too. But the clothes are the classic flex. I don't like clothes as a flex, though. Clothes is not, to me, it's not a flex that I would really resort to, because you're not fooling anyone,
Right. And you could probably get knockoffs.
That's true.
How do you even verify that your $700 Gucci sweatpants are legit,
The thing about clothes is buying the thing is one thing, but if you have something super expensive but you look stupid in it, it's not really as much of a flex as you would really like it to be. It's still a flex, sure, but the flex is waned if you don't look good. So maybe my problem is I don't look good enough to flex any clothing because it's still my stupid body in it, So it's like, you're not fooling anyone here. Who you fooling? So that's why I think that the clothing flex works, but it has to be also draped in what is someone, whether that's you personally or the outside world, deemed to be an attractive casing.
Let me ask you, Jared, about a potential whether or not this is a clothing flex here. I don't know if you saw the memes or the pictures or what have you, but when Conor McGregor had a fight a while back, he had a pinstripe suit on. I can't speak English tonight. Mm-hmm. So he had this pinstripe suit on, right?
Yeah.
And then they zoomed in to the pinstripes. Do you know what the pinstripe said, Jared?
Fuck you, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Is that a flex, or is that just a cocky asshole thing? I don't know. It's
cocky asshole for sure in his situation. You know what would be a flex, though? Wearing that to a normal event. Because most people probably won't notice, too. So that goes once again with the subtle flex as well. Because in his situation, it's a flex for sure. I'm not saying it's not a flex, but he was specifically doing it knowing that people would notice. I like the flex like that, but of doing it where like most people don't even realize that that it says that, and then like one person's like, "Oh, how do you do that?" It's like, well, you know, if you have to ask, you can't. Did you see him throw out the pitch, by the way, yesterday or whatever? 2 days ago?
Oh my God, yes! The internet eviscerated him.
I mean, most people throw terrible pitches, and he's not American. I don't know why I'm standing up for this guy, but it's always funny to watch a terrible pitch be thrown. Like 50
Didn't
cents.
help that he was wearing a skin tight suit as well.
Dude, that's what I thought too. I was like, dude, you need to be careful. I was like,
you're
if
gonna
you
rip your
throw,
suit.
yeah, I was like, I understand why that if you put too much mustard on that thing, you're gonna rip the entire backside from your pants all the way down the seam of your jacket if you throw that thing too hard.
For sure.
So I kind of get it. He has to be like,
right. Oh man, yeah, that was something
I saw that too.
All right, so we've
some
covered,
other flexes.
Yeah.
See, I like this because we've in certain instances we always look at it from the instance of some people like you or I could do, versus what like the proper real rich person flex is. I like that. I like that aspect of it. Clothes, you have to at least be. For me, at least, I'm at the level of being not ugly. You got to be kind of attractive to super attractive for
or
clothes
famous.
to really be a great. Yeah, or famous too. That's a good one too. That's very true. For clothes to really work. Yeah, if you're a not famous person and you're not ugly or below, don't even bother. Just go to Costco, get some comfortable jeans, and you'll be fine. I mean, a classic flex, obviously, is the followers, retweets. That's the easy one.
Right.
It's getting to the point now, though. Sometimes, retweets is always a flex for people. You'll see people can pin a tweet to the top of their. You see someone with like, a normal amount of followers, nothing crazy, and they'll have like clearly their most retweeted tweet pinned. And it's like, I get it. It's a flex. One time you got 20,000 retweets or something, but now it's starting to get pathetic because what people will do after like something goes crazy is they'll like reply tweet under, and you'll be the first one that shows up. People are like, oh, this has really gone crazy. Buy my merch or follow me on OnlyFans or whatever they say. But now it's like 500 retweets, and someone's like, oh, this is blowing up. Follow my OnlyFans, and I'm like, this is not blowing up. And now I'm offended by some of these, what people consider blow-ups. I was like, 500 retweets is no longer viral anymore. It's oppressive, sure, but it's not viral, okay? There's a difference.
Once again, though, that gets back to flexes being so intrinsically associated with social media.
Yes. It's all about what people... you can't flex if other people don't know about it. That's the thing.
Right.
There's no flexing in private. You're not flexing. You're just hoarding.
Let me ask you this,
hoarding
though, Jared.
Shit, buying a lot of fancy
How did
shit.
people flex before social media? Because we humans, we've been flexing for all the dawn of time, I feel like.
It hasn't completely changed, Chad. We were just talking about the Met Gala.
Right.
Things like that have been happening since the dawn of time. These balls where people get together and meet.
Oh, yep.
I mean, that's essentially what the Met Gala is. People just wear their craziest gowns, their most, their biggest hats, show up in some sort of carriage with like 16 horses and there's like 2 people in it. Or, and it's like the carriage is ornate. That's like showing up in like a Rolls Royce Phantom with the, what do you call it? It has like
the chandelier at the top there?
No. In Rolls Royces, in the ceiling they have like a constellation, so it kind of looks like like
cool.
an IMAX
looks
theater.
Like the stars or something.
Yeah, you can see stars and constellations, and every now and again, randomly, they'll have shooting stars that'll go through it too. And so it's that hasn't changed. Showing up at an event, the pull up has not changed for hundreds of years.
That's true.
Technology has changed, styles have changed, so we're showing up in limos and cars and not horse-drawn buggies, and the styles have obviously changed, the clothes are different, but that's still happening, for one. And then I think and just in general, there was more about like, there was more gossip. There's still gossip, but the gossip was more word of mouth, and there was a lot more, did you see this person in the town square with this person? Or did you see... did you see the neighbor? Did you see the Brooks across the street got a new Cadillac? That's like an old American, So I think there's certainly the flex was there. The driveway has always been a flex.
True.
For example, the house in itself has always been a flex.
True.
The property, what you have, how nicely decorated it is. There's one thing to have a big ass house. But even in a neighborhood like mine, full of subtle poor people homes, there are certain houses where their lawns are nicer than others. They clearly put more effort into their flowers and their shrubbery arrangements in the front.
Right.
Everyone can flex, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. There's just different levels to it, different stages. Some of that has to do with just overall money, but also I think what different types of people and classes of people would consider flex, right? Like I feel like if you're in like a rural area, like, if you pull up with like a Rolls Royce, people will be like, wow. But I feel like a bigger flex there would be like a badass lifted truck. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, a Rolls Royce would almost be like people would not respect that in a situation where in your hypothetical where the badass lifted truck is like the cool thing to show up with, a Rolls Royce, now you're going too far. That's past flex to, you think you're better than us,
Right.
Like the snooty a-hole. But if
you knock on the window and ask, do you have any Grey Poupon?
But you live in like where did you learn that? Where did you hear that from?
It's from a old commercial, and it's also from the movie Wayne's World.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that because there's a car YouTuber I follow that bought like a used Rolls Royce, and he's known for buying quote unquote hoopties, and he was doing all these jokes with Grey Poupon. This was years ago. And I thought it was funny, but I didn't realize. When I heard
from a commercial,
when you said that, I'm like, okay, well, clearly this is from something.
Right.
All right, that just dawned on me. I saw that came out like 3-4 years ago. Okay, yeah. Do you have any other flexes that come to your mind?
A big one, dude, that I'm surprised we haven't talked about yet.
What's that?
Food.
Yeah.
I feel like showing off your plate or your meal. I mean, you have all those Instagram baddies who've got 20,000 or 200,000 followers, and you always see these lavish plate with like a bottle of back in the day it used to be Cristal. I don't even know what the now champagne bottle to flex with would be.
Moet Chandon. I don't know if this is a Twitter. I know it's a Black Twitter thing, but I don't know if this is a Twitter wide thing. The shaming people for if you go on a date that's less than a $200 date is a popular Black Twitter thing these days. But another flex is, yeah, dude. Speaking of the food flex, there's this guy that I feel like I told you about this. We know him from college. And he's always been like a wanna flexer. I mean, he seems like he's got money. I'm not saying.
I like that phrase, Jared.
Well, the only reason I say wanna flex is because he would always go to these restaurants that were clearly classy, out of my pay grade, class wise.
Right.
And he would all the dishes would be like these like single bite little like beautifully arranged. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like it looked like a bite, but it was just beautiful. It looked like an art piece on a plate, and it was like a bite, and it's like you can barely even tell what it is. And I'm like,
that's so funny.
And whenever I'd see this, and I'd be like, I bet you this dude's bill is hundreds of dollars for just him, just him.
Yeah.
But there's probably like, at the end of the day, it's probably like $1,000 for the 4 of them or whatever. And it's like, and I'm like, but then you're gonna finish. Like when I see these plates, I'm like, you're gonna finish this and be like, all right, let's go to like McDonald's because I'm starving.
Right.
I drank a shit ton of expensive booze and I ate 5 bites of food over 6 courses. I'm starving. So yeah, that is a flex as well.
The food's a big one. Yeah,
food's definitely a big one. I like the flex of. Now let's get to the flex that anyone I think at any level could do. Food wise, I enjoy a good flex of a normal person cooking something and it turning out amazingly. Like there are a couple people I follow that like we went to college with, and I'll like look at their story and I'll be like, damn. And I was like, you made that? I was like, that looks like the pictures.
you know what, Jared? I feel like to add on to that, an even bigger flex would be if you cook something at home and then you were to like tag Gordon Ramsay or something, and if he was actually that looks pretty good.
That is a good flex, by the way. This going back to social media, the recognition from the famous people. We recently talked about one of our friends that went to a comedy show and got the recognition from a famous person. Did we talk about? Oh no, maybe that was me and someone else. Maybe we did, but I talked about it with someone.
That was hilarious. I saw that on
and he got
Instagram.
the repost on Instagram of his story.
It was Jeff Ross, wasn't the comedian?
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm like, I mean, it seems like a good time. I mean, Jeff Ross, by the way, he's a shady history. I don't know if I would. I don't know if I had publicized when I was on stage with him, just in case. You never know with him, because he's had some stories. Anyway, yeah, but that is a flex, is getting the famous person recognition for sure. Once again, always goes back to social media. It's like, hey, look, not only do my couple hundred followers recognize that I got paid attention to by a famous person, but now this famous person's 1.5 million followers see me, and I got an extra 7 followers out of it.
Right.
It's all the followers. Another one. Speaking of the followers, surprised we haven't talked about it. We always talk about this on our podcast, and we kind of talked about it last week. It has something to do with van life. I mean, travel. That's a flex right there.
For sure, dude. Did you hear about this? In Russia, bro, they have fake private jets. It just looks like the inside of a private jet where these Insta baddies will go there and take pictures. So it looks like they're living this lavish lifestyle, but it's literally just a tube with some nice fancy looking chairs. So it looks like you're on a private jet.
Yeah, they have that in the U.S. too. I don't know private jet specifically, but they do have like Instagrams, like locations where you can go and take pictures, and like the backgrounds look like you're at a beach or something.
That is
or you're like at a
hilarious
club, you know?
Right.
Yeah. Well, people buy followers. People,
True.
buying the flex is the saddest part. That's why the clothes to me
definitely.
really don't work, because it's like, well, if you're not attractive, that's all subjective. I'm talking about myself, really, where it's like you're just like, I'm not attractive enough to flex these clothes, so I'm just like, hey, so then it just turns into a look at me, even though a flex is a look at me. It's a lot of flexes, especially social media flexes, are presented as just like, oh, look, I just did this fun thing,
Right.
It's not presented as like, look, I'm better than you, even though that might be some sort of intention down below,
Right.
So if you're the not ugly person, myself, with the clothes, you're not flexing. It's just like that's begging for attention at that point.
Right.
It's pathetic.
It's
pathetic.
I do want to talk,
Jared.
Yeah, I agree. I do want to talk more about the travel aspect, though, Jared, because that is a huge aspect of the flex. Is a good travel flex, and obviously, I feel like different places call for different types of flex, right? Like if you're in Dubai, of course, you take a picture with like some of these outlandish and outrageous cars, right? I also I was watching a YouTube video a couple weeks ago, and I had heard, and I don't know if this is true or not because this is just from a YouTube video, but apparently some people try to get pulled over in Dubai because the cops there drive Bugattis and Lambos.
That's the dumbest shit
I feel like that would be a
heard.
funny flex. What?
I said that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Well, what's the flex?
I mean, you get pulled over, so you're riding in a Bugatti or Lambo. I mean, I've never ridden in a Bugatti or a Lambo. Have you?
Wait. Bugatti or a Lambo? No. Wait. So you're saying the flex is to get pulled over and get arrested?
Get pulled over and go for a police ride in a Bugatti or Lambo. I mean, that's how crazy people are with social media.
Wait.
Though,
They
Jared.
they'll just pull you. So if you're speeding in a car, they'll pull you over and you'll be like, "Hey, can I get a ride in your Lambo?" And they'll be like, "Sure, hop in."
I mean, bro, I don't know if that's how it works, but I'm just saying that's what somebody was talking about.
Risk. That sounds like the dumbest thing.
No kidding.
Hey,
right?
Don't try to flex by getting pulled over in a random country.
Right? Yeah, no, that's a terrible idea.
Especially the Middle East. That seems like a big risk.
Oh,
that
for
seems
sure.
like a huge risk.
For sure. What are some other kind of, I feel like and maybe this may not be a big flex, but for me as a quote unquote normal person, Jared, I would say a flex that I would for sure do is if I'm in Germany or Austria, you better believe if I got a good schnitzel in front of me, I think to me that's a great flex. Now obviously I'm not like you, Jared, where it's pretty hard to impress me, but I do feel like there's just like different cultural things that people, when they do travel, they want to kind of flex.
Yeah. What a flex.
That's a much more simple flex.
You know what I like to flex? When I buy a new pair of socks, I'll take a picture of them and post those on the gram and see what the ladies think of that.
There you go. You know, it's
Schnitzel? That's
Yeah.
a normal thing that anyone can get a hold of.
But see, Jared, the simple things in life are what make me happy. I don't need a Lambo on my Insta story to be happy. Give me some tasty ass schnitzel with some fries.
You post that with the idea of flexing in mind. You're like, oh, when people see this, they're gonna know that I'm living life right.
That's right. Well, it's all about, like you said, going back to that Beyonce example, Jared. It's all about, showing the little happy moments in life. I feel like that's a wholesome flex.
I'm actually, you ruined it. I was with you right up until you said that. No, I'm with you though, because yes, I like that, because it's like, listen, you're signaling that you're in a different country, first of all. So It's like, I'm traveling internationally. That's the flex. The flex isn't
That's true.
The food
isn't the schnitzel.
But you're doing the subtle flex by being like, look at me enjoying the culture, when it's like, yeah, well, you're back in Michigan, I'm here in Vienna, soaking in some real culture.
And having some good ass schnitz, bro.
So
for sure.
I'm with you on that. I actually like that. I like that. It's like, listen, I don't need to flex. Well, because there is also the flex of the flex of traveling, I don't think is just sort of like hitting those hot spots like in front of the Eiffel Tower or like the Coliseum or something, but also like there's the flex of going super remote. You know, like we've all seen the white chick on the dating apps post a pic with a lot of brown kids in like some distant village somewhere. And that is
pouring water, like, or something like that.
That's terrible. That is so fucked up. but
I have legit seen dating profiles, Jared,
where they're pouring water onto the ground.
No. Where they're like I saw this one chick.
Like in front of these kids, they're pouring water on the ground. Like, this is how little of a f I give.
No. It was when I was really, my Tinder game was up way back in the day, and
last week, you mean?
No, not last week. But this girl had a picture of her in Africa, I'm assuming, and it was, a bunch of like black kids.
Yeah.
And she was like pouring water into one of their mouths. I shit you not, bro.
That's come on. Oh my God.
I'm serious, man.
I believe you.
That's
I believe you.
That is a Karen flex right there, dude.
There's one thing to do like the picture where it's like you're on the quote unquote mission trip, where it's like, look at me helping these kids. But to actively be pouring water into one of their mouths is next level. I might report that account.
There you go. Oh, that was hilarious.
This should not be allowed. But that is a flex in itself. Is the I'm better than you, I help people flex. Is a classic flex. I mean, there's a term for it on social,
but yeah,
that's one of the terms. I hate that term. Another term I hate is social justice warrior. Those two terms I hate. But that is certainly a flex. I mean, there's the class. I mean, you don't know about this. I can't. Why do we even do a podcast? Are you familiar with Sean King?
Yeah.
Do you know that he's known for just people call him fraud? Fraud king and all that stuff. And yeah, see, exactly.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, I mean, he's giant. Everyone calls him out for being a giant fraud all the time. But the flex is like the pretend activism. So that is a flex as well. The pretend I care. Look at me helping. Look at me helping these people that need my help. I'm so good.
You know what I think?
I'm
Jared, is one of my.
And I'm black. That's another thing. Is there's a lot of talk about. Is this guy really black?
Oh yeah, I have seen that on social media. One of my favorite types of flexes, though, Jared, or well, maybe I don't know. Do you consider this a flex? Is the glow up?
Yeah, of course. That's a great flex. It's a great flex. Yeah, I think that fuels a lot of people. It doesn't have to be something so extreme where you lose 300 pounds and you went from like very obese to just like supermodel, but even like, let's say, hypothetically speaking, post breakup, making sure you stay in shape in a very unhealthy flex sort of way as a signal to your ex that you're doing well or something. This is a hypothetical.
Right.
Just making up a random example of what could happen in the world. But yeah, the glow up is definitely a flex for sure. And it's a great. That's a great example of a wholesome flex because anyone that has a problem with that is just a hater.
Yeah. But that's why people need to wear sunglasses, Jared, to block out the haters.
Yeah. These have what is it? Jesus, polarized. Oh, damn. These are haterized.
Oh man, yeah, but yeah, I mean, I think that's truly one of my favorite flexes is like a glow up, like either, and it could be anything, dude. Like a glow up isn't just like somebody posting like with their like great in shape body. A glow up could be like, somebody who was like dealing with like addiction issues, and then it's like, look at me, I'm a year clean. That's true. I feel like that's a solid glow up too. But I feel like those flexes come from a different place. It's not like a check out all my money or check out my baddies or check out my, you know what I mean?
To me, a lot of that comes from personal accountability too, a little bit.
Yeah.
Here's another flex. So as I mentioned. The glow up is a good one, by the way. I like that one. I didn't even think about that. That's a great flex. It's a risky flex though, because you definitely gotta stick to it.
Right. True.
A great flex for all ages, and I think this applies equally. Somehow, I think this applies equally to all ages. Getting free shit.
Oh, that's a good flex.
Because rich people get more free shit than poor people. Rich people are always given free shit by companies that want them to drive their shit, wear their shit, use their technology.
Their shit.
Yeah. So like there's always like it's crazy, or even not even on that level. Even if you go to a restaurant and you're just like, oh, look at this famous person. Like a lot of famous people, if you're so famous that people recognize you, you probably don't have to pay when you go to some restaurant if someone recognizes you. It's like, it's so funny that those are the people that are like, no, please don't pay. Oh, I would never put you out. I would never force you to do something. Or it's like, yeah, this $300 that their bill cost is nothing to them. Yet if some random person were to dine and dash, you would be chasing them out with a rolling pin. Yet if Brad Pitt just walks out,
or
you're
a frying pan.
If Brad Pitt just walks out after his final grappa, you're just like, that was the greatest experience of my life.
Right.
But that also obviously works for people of all ages. Getting free shit is a flex for a poor person as well. But it's interesting to me how even rich people can flex that they got something for free.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think for rich people, it's that they could have bought it, but they didn't have to.
Right.
I think that's where the flex is.
It's the recognition, because if you're a rich person, it's usually due to some sort of it's a marketing for the company. Essentially, we want this person to be seen in our thing, And so a lot of celebrities get sent a whole bunch of stuff that they may not ever even wear or use, in the hopes the company just hopes that they might use it,
Right.
And it's like, why is it I know why it's the rich person, because everyone follows them on Insta. Once again, it goes back to social media. But it's like it's so funny that the people can also afford all of this stuff easily and probably don't even want it are the ones that are getting all the free stuff and still can flex it.
Yeah, that's true, man. That is true.
Here's another big flex, by the way. Sorry, you seem like you really had one that you were ready for.
Nope.
No?
Go for it.
Here's another big flex that I think is universal.
What's that?
Family. Like there's a lot of cultures in the world, US included, where like having kids is a flex. Having a shit ton of kids, for example. Sometimes that's a religious flex, and a whole variety of religions. The idea of having kids is like a sign of some sort of wealth. I don't know. I don't know. But healthy family in general is a big flex. But I know there are a lot of religions out there where the idea of having like 6 kids that are all, especially if they're doing well in life, if there's one that has like some sort of problem or is not successful, just don't bring them up. But if you have like 7 others that are killing it, and the 8th and 9th are like sort of not doing great, still that's a good ratio, which is why these people have so many kids. But I'd say there's a lot of communities in the world that, especially, and that is also a flex that works for money regardless. People that have no money have a lot of kids. People that have a shit ton of money also have a lot of kids.
True. You know what is my favorite kind of familial flex is when you see kids giving back to their parents. I'll tell you straight up, Jared.
That's a good one.
One of my biggest dreams. Well, maybe not biggest dreams, but one thing that I would love to do once I'm in the financial position is I would love to surprise my mom with a Cadillac.
Yeah,
like have her like open up the garage, blindfold. Take off the blindfold, and holy shit, there's a Cadillac.
Yeah,
like I would.
So you
my
could
mom
post
has
it on
always
your
talked about a
Instagram?
caddy. Oh, for sure, dude. That shit would for sure be on the gram.
I mean, that's a classic flex. That's a classic hip hop flex, but that's a classic celebrity flex in general. And then because the flex one is not just look how happy I made. Usually it's the mother. Sometimes it's both parents, or sometimes it's just the father. Usually it's the mother. For you, clearly it's the mother. Who cares what, your dad, he can keep driving his old Ford. Who cares? But yeah, no, that's a classic flex where it's like, oh, I started from the bottom and now I've, finally got my mama the house that she always wanted or whatever. And that's a flex that you see celebrities do, but you also see even like Yeah, that's a sort of one of those classic tearjerkers where it's like, why am I crying about this? It's some random strangers on social media, or you see like someone even more than when you see like the rich rapper or whatever buy their parents a house or like a new like Maybach,
Right.
Well, when you see like a normal person buy their parents like a well sorted used like Camry, like a 2-year-old used Camry, I'm like, oh, this is amazing, because they used to have like a 13-year-old car or something that was barely working, and I'm like, see, I love that that's a great flex. And the flex, for sure, buying stuff for other people in general is a great flex. Because that also signifies when we're talking about getting sort of the recognition. I know this is a wholesome thing and I'm gonna ruin it, because the flex is also the recognition that you're doing so well personally that you can buy someone else a car or a house or something.
Right.
And it's not changing your life. Because really you should not be doing, if you're doing that, hopefully it's not, you're not doing it and now you're like, oh God, no, I'm sweating to pay the car note on my parents' car.
Right.
Like if you're doing that, then that's just a terrible financial decision.
Oh yeah, that's just foolish.
But if you're doing that, the flex is partially, look how good I'm doing, where I can buy this person this, and look how happy I can make this person, because it means nothing to me to just buy this car and change this person's life. You see it all the time, actually, not even with family. You see like a lot of times with athletes, like showing up to like someone that's less fortunate in some form or another, and being and like giving them a jersey or something, or like showing up at like some like local public school or whatever, and like all the kids freak out,
Right. One of my favorite examples of that is Dave Grohl, the singer and guitarist for the Foo Fighters. He's brought kids on stage, and he'll let them play his guitar. And one of the kids, he was like, "All right, you can keep it."
I thought it was just that one girl that got all the shine. I didn't realize he let multiple kids on stage.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's at least a couple of videos.
How simple their music is, really, more than anything. If he lets too many kids on stage.
Look, Jared. I don't want to say this, but look, a lot of rock music is not that hard to play. Let's be honest. I mean, there's an age-old saying, Jared. A rock star will play 3 chords in front of 3,000 people, and a jazz guitar player will play 3,000 chords in front of 3 people.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Yeah. So, I was like, easy. Be careful there, Dave Grohl. I think you're just exposing that children could replace you at any moment.
Another one though that I like too, Jared, is I forget when this was, but like Drake basically like went on the intercom in a supermarket and he was like, "Get whatever you want. I'm paying for everything."
That's a good flex. That's a good flex.
That's a solid flex too. Like helping, like I like flexes where you help out people who genuinely need it.
I'm conflicted on flex because that's obviously a very nice thing to do, I guess. But like, I don't want that much attention on me, to be honest with you.
Right.
I wouldn't. I would. I don't know.
Well, Jared, I don't think you get to Drake's level without.
That's true.
You need to want that level of attention.
What am I talking about?
Like
it's the guy that's on stage every other day with a microphone in his hands, and I was like, yeah, but he probably doesn't like that attention.
Right.
Yeah, he travels everywhere with at least 15 people, but those are. Oh, I have one more. I have one more flex for you. Exotic animals. Such a wild flex to me. Every time I see a video of someone with some sort of exotic
Land Rover,
dude, that's
in the passenger seat.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Well, I was actually gonna say in their G-Wagon, but same thing.
Yep.
It's just driving on the street, and I always listen. This might be terrible, but I'm always kind of praying that they get attacked. Because to me, that's the dumbest thing you could do. Obviously, I mean, how much dumber could you get? Then having that in your house, but then driving down the street with it, then I'm always like, I just hope this thing just bites you right now, and you roll off the road in your Rolls Royce Cullinan. That's a terrible thing to say, but we're on an hour plus into the podcast, and 3 people hear this, so it's fine.
That's a super I've never understood. Once again, I mean, all of this comes down to
that is the
obviously
ultimate power flex.
Yeah,
Because
for sure.
there's the money flex in buying it, sure, but it seems like based off a Tiger King, it doesn't seem like these things are that expensive. I feel like I could buy a tiger if I wanted.
Right.
But the flex, it's the power of being. You have to present as comfortable for the flex to work around
Right.
this thing, because the flex is
and-
like I'm so powerful that my calm nature calms this beast, and I'm not afraid around this beast.
Right. Well, the other thing too, though, Jared, which is also a flex, is I feel like for a lot of these people, you need to have connections in order to even get that animal wherever they are. So that's another like, look how well connected I am. Look at my prestige. You know, like it's something that a normal person just simply couldn't do.
Sure. I feel like it's a faux tough guy thing too. I feel like it's a real.
agree.
I feel like it's something that someone like, there's almost like there's like the stereotype that people that have those big old lifted modified trucks are, there's like the small dick syndrome. That's kind of how I feel about someone with like a exotic pet.
That also
like something
another,
especially an aggressive exotic pet.
Well, one thing that's kind of related to this too, Jared, which pisses me off is like big game hunters, like trophy hunters, they try to flex with that as well. And that just pisses me off. It's like you had to kill this wild animal to try to flex that you're some macho badass person. And I think it just makes you look weak. I think it makes you look,
Especially since we all know that it's not like you were just on your own on a hunt. Like this is
right.
Essentially, they're like here, like the guides drive you to it, and line up the gun for you, and then say, "All right, pull the trigger."
Right.
Like it's not like the flex is it's a fake flex. Even if but terrible act aside, it's a fake flex. Which is and we all know it's a fake flex. We all know that you're not just out here doing this. You didn't just get your own Land Rover Defender and go find a lion on your own and just walk around.
It's not like you
through
pitched
the bush.
a tent in the in the Serengeti or wherever. And bro,
I'm not leaving here until I hunt down Betsy, my greatest foe. You're like one arm because she got you once.
Right.
Then that might be a flex.
Right. Yeah. Well,
Still don't do it. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it, but
Definitely
that
not.
is certainly more of a flex than being driven to the animal in a safe, confined experience, and the person pointing you to the animal and saying, "Here you go shoot it."
Yeah, for sure. Well, Jared, you got any other flexes? Because I'm flexed out, my man.
Yeah, we're about to pass out with all this flexing.
All this flexing. I will say though, just to end the episode, Jared, my two favorite flexes by far are the glow up, and then that family flex. I think those are two of my favorites.
All right. My favorite flexes are the subtle flexes. I'm a car nerd. I'm sort of a watch nerd. It's hard to be a watch nerd if you don't have the money for it.
True. Car nerd too, though. Really,
that's true. That's a great point. But that's a great point. What am I talking about? But it's easier to justify getting, like, if you're going to buy a car, if you need a car, if you're in a situation where you need a car, it is easier to find the more interesting choice in your price range. Which once again is the flex is to get is not just
the sleeper,
not just it's like oh, how'd you find that, or it's like it might be $20,000, but it's hard to find and it's cool, but like watches, it's kind of hard to justify, a $3,000 watch where it's like, but you could also get a watch that works for $100 or $20,
Right.
So it's a little bit harder to justify that flex. Jewelry in general is sort of a ridiculous flex to me.
I agree.
It's easy. That's the thing.
Right.
Which is why I like the subtle flexes. So it's like if you're going to do a watch, it's not the fact that it's shiny. It's the fact that it's some sort of like brand or style or something that it's like, oh, wow, how'd you find that?
Right.
No, like, wow, that's shiny. How much did that cost?
Oh, it's one other big flex that we didn't mention, though, which I think is worth bringing up, even though we're coming to the end of the episode.
Take your time.
It's just custom made or like handmade, because it's just for you. It's really rare.
Yes.
Like if I had like a custom shop like builder from Fender, the guitar company, build me a custom, it's one of a kind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, custom built, coach built. Or like something that is so specific that, something that I'm sure you can relate to in the guitar world. I've seen it in the car world, where if you get something that's so specific, like a 1 of 20 McLaren Sabre or something, like, let's just say I made up some car. You can get like your name. Like there'll be like the 1 of 25 for Jared in like in the little plaque with the VIN number under it, and it's not just the fact that it's an expensive car, that it's a rare car, but it's like this everything about this spec was specifically for me, and that's such a flex where it's like I feel like you're kind of you're flexing so hard where it's like I don't give a shit about the next person that I'm inevitably going to sell this to.
Right.
This is so for me that from here on out, no matter who owns this, they'll still know who this is for.
Yep.
And I'm sure you've seen there's the same thing exists in the guitar world where you can somehow get a name or, like the Fender blah, 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 Jimi Hendrix edition or something,
Right. Yeah. Without a doubt. But yeah. Well, Jared, I think we've covered our bases on the different types of flexes out there. But if we haven't,
I have one more.
Shoot us. Okay.
One more that I think you might like. And we started the episode with me doing this to you incessantly, and I that's why I kind of have to get to it, because there was a point while I was doing that. Flexing knowledge, Chad.
Oh, that's a good one.
That is a big one. I remember when I was in high school, the people that were going to U of M were the most annoying people. There were people that were going to like Ivy Leagues that were less annoying than the people going to U of M.
Oh, for sure.
Like they were
bro,
U of M's a good school. We all know it. But it's just like they made it seem like any other school was like a failure in the people's you couldn't get into U of M? That's a shame. That's a shame.
Right.
The knowledge flex is a big flex. I mean, speaking of the internet, one of the most annoying and popular internet moves. And sometimes I used to see it a lot in the car forums and used to look for it especially. So if I were to see someone make a mistake, I knew it would be a matter of 2 to 3 posts under where you're going to get these 2 words. And as soon as you hear it, you're gonna be like, oh, I knew it. I should have said that. I should have said it before he did. Well, actually.
Oh, yep. You're totally right, Jared. 100%.
The well actually is the most annoying. Whoever says that is the most annoying person in the world. Where it's like, oh, let me actually educate you. The mansplain is another example of it. There are plenty of examples of people trying to flex their knowledge, and it's super annoying. And it's hard to do that in a classy way, to flex your knowledge. There are ways to do it. Especially if you legitimately know your stuff and you sort of are speaking from an objective standpoint.
What it boils down to, Jerry, is it's how you come across. Actually, I think it comes from kind of a snooty place.
Yeah.
But I think if you're not coming
I get
from
to correct this person and tell them they were wrong.
Whereas I think some people, it's just, hey, you made a mistake and I want to let you know so you don't make the mistake again. I think that's different than being like, "Hi, I told you so," or
yeah.
Yeah.
But you can definitely tell, internet or not, you can definitely tell when someone's excited that they noticed someone got something wrong,
for sure,
and that they're going to correct them about it.
It's almost kind of like when you see people arguing on social media and then someone makes a grammar mistake or misspells a word.
Oh yeah,
and then you know what I mean. Like I feel like that's kind of the same wavelength, the same energy.
That's a classic own when someone doesn't have like a real response to someone. They'll be like there with the EI. Right. Yeah, it's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah.
Well, Jared, I think we've covered our flexes today.
By the way,
but let us know.
We did. I'm going to stop you one more time because you caught a great one at the very end. The grammar flex is real, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea of a grammar Nazi, the grammar flex is so real. And I don't like to correct people, but in my head, there are moments where I hear other people's grammar and I'm like, that's not right, and I know the right word.
Right.
It's an internal flex to myself.
I've seen people on Facebook post shit, and same thing, Jared. I like read it and I'm like, well, you may be making a valid point here, but you clearly misspelled a word, or you used the wrong to or the wrong there.
Yeah, they lose
so
some
now
validity.
your argument's invalid.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Person doesn't
It's
know what
crazy.
you're talking. Yeah, I agree with you, but you don't know what you're talking about.
right. Yeah. Oh man, that's
you
a
used the
different
wrong
level of
hits.
arrogance right there. Yeah, for sure. Well, anyways, let us know what some of your favorite ways to flex are at untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com. You can check us out on Instagram and on YouTube, Untranslatable Podcast. And please slide into those DMs on Twitter, Untranslatable1. And also 5-star reviews on iTunes and let us know how we can make this podcast better for you. So as we say here at the Untranslatable Podcast, dziękujemy, muchas gracias, shishi, and do svidania.